Hello, and thank you for watching this short video. We'd like to walk you through just a few key figures to show you how we've arrived at our initial financial and rate of return projections. We believe that we've been extraordinarily conservative in our estimates, and we think you'll agree. Although there are many other players in the industry, such as managing directors of M&A and VC firms and FINRA members, aka stockbrokers, and others who represent the key demographic for director status on the Sprocket Network, our example here is used only as a partial example of how large this target market is. These are the experienced professionals who bring the initial deal flow for our NBN and Sprocket networks. As of September 2017, there were 634,963 registered representatives with FINRA, aka stockbrokers. We estimate attracting and retaining only 1,017 by the end of year 5. This figure represents only 0.16% of the total key target market. Remember, we don't pay director associates anything, ever. They are paid cash and equity exclusively by the companies that they manage as independent directors. This means that the number of director associates is easily scalable to an unlimited amount. We also have no administrative or employee burdens or liabilities with this arrangement. We estimate, on average, each of our director associates attracting and retaining only 5 companies each year into NBN, and growing to only 9 companies each year by the end of year 3. We believe this is a very conservative estimate based on our real-world experience. There are 798 VC firms, 3,835 FINRA member stockbroker firms, and 6,799 commercial banks in the U.S. Out of the many, there are 50 especially strong websites catering to entrepreneurship. There are 228 universities in the U.S. that cater to entrepreneurship as well. That totals to 11,710 potentially very strong enterprise associates. That number barely scratches the surface. We estimate attracting and retaining only 27 enterprise associates by the end of year 5. This figure represents only 0.002% of the currently identifiable key target markets. According to the U.S. Small Business Administration, there are 28.8 million small businesses in the U.S. alone, of which only 20% or 5.8 million had employees. There were approximately 850,000 startups as well. We use the combined figure of 5.8 million who had employees, plus the same percentage of 20% against the 850,000 startups, or a net of 170,000, to arrive at the total figure of approximately 6 million small businesses as the entire target market for NBN and Sprocket Network. We estimate attracting and retaining only 92,505 companies as NBN users by the end of year 5. This figure represents only 1.54% of the total key target market. From there, we estimate that only 20% or 14,426 NBN users actually engage in the corporate and social engineering process as Sprocket members by the end of year 5. This figure only represents less than 0.25% of the total key target market. The number of later and startup stage companies that we add to our VC fund is negligible as we engage in hands-on effort, and therefore these do not scale well. However, the number of early stage companies we add to our VC fund is significant as we do not engage in a hands-on effort, and therefore the scalability is truly unlimited. These 6,059 Sprocket members are added to our VC fund by the end of year 5. This figure represents only 0.1% of the total key target market. From the total number of the companies in our venture capital fund, After an average of a 5-year incubation period, we estimate bringing only 9%, or 586 of these well-engineered companies to Wall Street for an IPO. That figure represents 1/100th of 1% of the total key target market. There were only 106 IPOs in the year of 2016. If we are able to deliver 586 companies to Wall Street as being prepared for IPOs, we will truly be the primary source for quality deal flow for IPOs. In addition, we estimate bringing only 14%, or 892 of these well-engineered companies from our venture capital fund to corporate buyers. That figure represents only 15 thousandths of 1% of the total key target market. Becoming the primary source of quality deal flow for Wall Street and corporate America is our primary goal. As we look at the internal rates of return for the preferred equity, as illustrated in the private placement memorandum, we can see that the first internal rate of return figure accounts for the stated and participative dividends, Scenario 1 with a call of $110 a share. In Scenario 2, the internal rate of return also takes into account for the stated and participative dividends, as well as full conversion into the company's common equity as priced in a private market. In Scenario 3, the internal rate of return also calculated with the stated and participative dividends and full conversion into the company's common equity, assuming an initial public offering of the Sprocket Network. Please keep in mind that we do not include any assumptive value for the ownership of the pre-IPO or strategically sold companies in our venture capital fund. They're too difficult to estimate. Just imagine making one investment in a company that owns a substantial amount of equity in a venture capital fund full of pre-IPO companies. Please read the PPM in its entirety and then feel free to contact us as instructed within the PPM to set up a conference call with one of the founders. Thanks again for watching and have a wonderful day.